right, welcome everybody to the Great Cookie Press Off of 2021. Before we get started, I want to give you a tiny bit of context by answering the most frequently asked question, which is, what the heck do you mean by a cookie press? Well, a cookie press is a device. I have an example here made in 1936. The main components are a tube, which you fill with dough, a shape plate, which controls what shape your dough will be in when it comes out, and a paddle, which will force the dough through the tube and out through the shape plate. Now, this old-fashioned model is literally just a press model, but the one I trained on in my mother's kitchen actually had a screw on this shaft, so you could advance it by twisting. A few years ago, my sister Katie and I moved out on our own, and we purchased some modern plastic models, which were lever operated. And one by one, each of those has since broken. The plastic cracks and it can't be used anymore. In response to the disaster of Christmas 2020, in which we were trying frantically to bake enough cookies that we could drop some off at each of our relatives' houses because we were not able to host the 52-person Marinello Christmas Eve party as a result of COVID restrictions, we were trying to get that done, and the last of the plastic ones cracked in our hands. We were forced to finish 4 batches of cookie press with just this old-fashioned push model. And in response to that, my mother sought out a highly rated modern metal model made by Zulay Kitchen, lever operated. It worked on its maiden voyage, but on its second outing, which was for the Christmas in July barbecue that we threw in lieu of our usual Christmas party, on that very second voyage, on only the second press of the lever bent and was rendered useless. So after we had arranged to get that replaced because it was under warranty, we decided we needed some scientific evidence for which modern cookie press was going to be our best choice for future Christmases. The recipe we are using in all of the following is for butter-rich spritz. It contains 1 cup of soft butter, 1.5 cups of confectioner's sugar, and 2.5 cups of regular flour, if that gives you a sense of the consistency. Of course, there's also vanilla extract, almond extract, etc. But keep in mind, this is a full cup of butter with 1.5 cups confectioner's sugar. It should be pretty soft. All right. We are here at the 2021 Cookie Pressing Press Off. In this corner, we have the very dependable Ateco Magic, manufactured 1936, hasn't broken yet. The Zulay Kitchen recently sent replacement for the one that broke. And the as yet untexted OXO kitchen press. OXO will be pressing in blue, Zulay in red, and Atesco in yellow. Contestants, select your first shape. And they're off. In our first round, it was Zulay versus OXO. Mom, pressing with OXO, found that the first few were getting stuck and having to be coaxed off with a knife. Meanwhile, Zulay was pressing very efficiently, but it was leaking some dough around the edges of the shape plate. Not what you want to see. All right, so on the left here, we have Team Red operating a Zulay model. It is one that started off on the back foot here because we were already not impressed with its durability. However, we note that with flours, it was coming out very smoothly and with very little coaxing. With 1 press, you got 1 cookie. Now over here on the OXO model, we tried with butterflies, but the butterflies were not coming out very well. When we switched to Christmas trees, we had a very superior Christmas tree experience. Let's check Ateco now.
Additionally, please note, Team Red, the press leaks dough around the edges with each press.
It was very discouraging at first. It took a lot more elbow grease than we anticipated.
Right, and the first few did not want to come out without encouragement.
And it's hard to know how to consistently, like the press is hard to know which one, when to pull up.
Right.
On that note, I think the OXO, with its see-through tube, has the other slight edge over the others because we can tell what we're doing without having to look underneath.
Yeah.
Coming back to that point, we observed that in Zule, you had some wastage when dough would ooze back around the shape plate. However, here on OXO, we have a little backsplash coming up the sides here where it oozes around the paddle. Alright, now the proof, of course, of pudding is in the eating. So here we have, representing Team Yellow, Dad, Team Blue, Mom, and Team Red, Brian. Athletes, eat your cookies.
Wow.
Really good. It's very soft.
Is it good, Brian?
I'm going to say that while Thelma's is a good fallback option, I mean, it's hard to argue with the efficiency of lever-operated cookie presses. And we'll go now to Dad. Dad?
Lever operated has the additional advantage of having the audible clue of when to stop. You can judge your consistency by the number of clicks. I would never buy a cookie press that didn't have that again, now that I know that that exists.
All right, and Mom had an observation.
Well, I think the clear tube of the OXO is really helpful. Even though there was a little backsplash from the paddle, it was fairly efficient. And the click. And then the Zule was really efficient. There was very little dough left behind. Also has the click. But I do have to say that I'm fond of the Christmas tree form of the OXO. I think that this is a classic form and it worked really, really well, and we were able to quickly fill the tins and get them in the oven.
For more on this story, we will quickly compare. Red is Zule Christmas tree and multicolor is OXO Christmas tree.
Here's a better
Christmas tree.
better Christmas tree.
Or better OXO Christmas tree. All right. Brian, say the thing.
You have to warm the dough or you're going to break your lever action press.
In other words, exactly the thing that I did wrong 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Room temperature dough, so say we all.
And I'm going to say it again, this has been an age-old problem, and it's not an easy thing to remember, but it is worth the time to get the dough room temperature before you start this process. Not only broken appliances, but a lot of elbow grease wasted, and a lot of wasted cookies that didn't really shape right for the first several when it wasn't room temperature dough.
All right. Gold winner OXO, silver Zule, bronze Thelma's. Joining us from the kitchen sink for one final comment, we have
The OXO tin plates are superior to the other two presses that we tried out today.
all right.
Zule paddle retains dough and is harder to clean.